Hi there, today we're going to look at 3 simple ways to improve the readership and engagement on your blog. My name is Karl from Buzz Website Design and Marketing, and it's our job to help you to do better in your business. And just a quick reminder, if you really like what we do in these videos, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We produce these videos roughly once a week, and it's always designed to help you to engage with and pull in more from your customers and more from your target market. So anyway, back to talking about your blog. Well, I hope by now you've been sold on the idea of writing very regularly on your website through a blog. And that could be, articles, case studies, comments, news, customer testimonials, etc. However you framed it, you need to be writing regularly on your website. Not only is it good for engaging with potential customers, it's also incredibly good for your website standing in the search engines. But then that's great, but then what happens when somebody comes to your website and starts to read items on your blog? Well, there's a few things that you need to do to really maximize people's time, enjoyment, and also the readership of the blog. Because Google will notice if the drop-off rate from your blog and from your articles, etc., is really, really high, and people aren't staying particularly long. If you've had Google Analytics on your website, Google will be able to see which content is being read and how long people are staying on these pages. If people stay longer, Google considers it to be important. Even if those numbers are few, they consider it to be important enough to bump you up the search rankings. So the idea behind keeping people on your site, keeping people reading, is of paramount importance to how well your website does in the search engine. So okay, you've written some blog posts and people come to the blog, but what happens when they get there? Well, arguably the biggest thing that you can do to improve readership on your blog is to write in plain English. Now, I've written on this before, and it frustrates me when I go and see people's blogs and they've written in technical language, they've got jargon splattered all over it, buzz phrases, corporate speak, and unfortunately, very few people will probably engage with that on the web. You have such a small window to grab someone's attention and keep them reading. So you need to think, how can we make this easier to read, easier to digest, to keep people on the site? And the easiest thing to do is not necessarily to dumb it down, but just to put it into everyday plain language, so that everybody can get to grips with it quickly. You have to bear in mind that at least here in the UK, the average reading age is somewhere between a 14 and a 15-year-old. So if a 14-year-old can read it and understand it, then your wider audience will be able to as well. The next point is all about breaking your content up into short paragraphs and short sentences. There's nothing worse than coming to a web page and only see massive great blocks of text. It will switch off just about everybody. So break up your content into short sentences, short paragraphs of no more than 2 or 3 short sentences. It breaks it up, makes it look easier to read and less harsh on the eyes when somebody comes to the page. But it also helps to lead people on into the next paragraphs and next sentences, because it doesn't look at first glance like a huge chore to wade your way through all of this text. And finally, use plenty of subheadings. And subheadings could just be a case in point about what's making a key point or introducing the next little key thing you're trying to introduce in your content and in your blog. What point are you making? Can you make it into a subheading? Again, it breaks up that body of text in a way that makes it easy to digest. And if those subheadings have some kind of benefit in them as well, such as you're making a key point which is important to the reader and important to the point you're trying to get across, then again, readership will increase. So just to quickly go over what I've said is that use plain English. Write it how you would explain it to somebody if you were at a party, for example. When you're with somebody in a social setting, you don't go into technical language, you don't use all of this verbosity and long sentences, etc. You just get to the point really, really quickly, and you should be doing that on your blog. And also write in short sentences and short paragraphs. Your paragraph shouldn't be that long, it should just be really that long with 2 or 3 short sentences in it, and you move on to the next one. If you're writing in plain English, it should be quite easy to break up your blog post into shorter paragraphs and shorter sentences. And finally, use subheadings to break the text up even more and to make points and to lead people on to further down in the text, to let people know what's coming. So that way, again, it breaks up the text. It looks less like a chore to be able to read it. It will make the page a lot longer, but if it's broken up into short chunks, broken up again by subheadings that are leading people into more content, making a valid point, giving benefit to the reader, then people will stick around and they will read more. So I really hope that's been useful. I really do hope that you get to grips with blogging. It will only be good for you, it will only be good for your website, and ultimately it'll only be good for your business. But I appreciate you watching. Once again, subscribe to the channel if you like what we do, and thanks again, and bye for now.